What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Delilah season 1 episode 3. So we start this episode off with Delilah now confronting her client Leah with the information that proves that she had an affair with the CEO. Remember, Leah wasn't trying to, she was saying that it didn't happen. Now she's saying it just wasn't a big deal. And she was like, listen, I need you to tell me everything about your relationship with your boss. Well, come to find out, they had met on a website, and they had been having an affair, and he was paying her bills. They had an arrangement, and then when he needed an assistant, he did hire her to be his assistant. After a while, the relationship fizzled out, but she had her job until she confronted him about the radios, and then that was the end of it. And Leah was like, girl, first of all, I need you to be honest with me, because I don't know how to counteract stuff that I don't know is coming. Like, I can't have a counter argument to a situation that I ain't know was gonna happen. So that's number one. Number two, I need you, like, cause they had a reporter coming. I need you to not say none of that to the reporter. Just stick to the story. Just talk about Gary Shea, the fact that Gary Shea is dead, and we're gonna focus on that. And Lord have mercy, we're going to get through this interview. But I'm telling you, is there anything else I need to know? Because I cannot keep doing this. I can't get blindsided. Okay, this is too important. Going against my best friend here. Okay. She says, no, that's it. That's all. So they go into the interview. The interview seems to be going really well. Then she gets a phone call. It's from her brother. Now, here's the thing. I understand. He your brother. I understand that he's injured. He's in rehab, and you're probably a little bit worried about him. And when he calls, it could be an emergency. I get all of that. But with the type of client you have, who has already lied to you at least twice up until this point, there is no way in the world why there's no way in the world why you should have left that woman alone in the room with that reporter. No. She did say, let's take a pause for a minute while I take this phone call. Girl, you should have took her with you. You should have took the reporter out the room or took Leah out the room. But ain't nowhere in the world you should have let her sit in there unsupervised. Neither here nor there. That's what she did, honey. She ran out to talk to her brother. Well, now her brother is pissed off because the brother found her from the wife, and the wife called him and was like, yo, your sister showed up over here tripping. What is the problem? And she was like, I did not yell at her, okay? I went over there to just find out what was going on with Dion and what the issue was. But I did not yell at her. It was not that serious. And he was like, well, that's what I heard. I need you to leave her the hell alone. She's doing the best she can. And she was like, listen, I'm in the middle of something right now. I can't take this. He was like, well, you shouldn't have answered the phone. So when she goes back into the conference room, the reporter then switched up the questions. Leah is in there telling all her business. She talking about the fact that she met this man on the app, that she met other men on the app, basically outing herself as like a high-end prostitute. Okay? Now, of course, she tells, Delilah starts going off on the reporter, like, wait a minute, this is not what we talked about. This is outside of the scope. And she's actually friends with the editor of the newspaper, the Charlotte Observer. And she was like, I'm going to tell Barbara about this because I don't appreciate how you doing business. Like, this is real salacious. The reporter was like, well, I ain't really tripping because I got what I needed. Deuces. Just as the reporter leaves out, baby, who come walking in? The real reporter from the Charlotte Observer. So, Leah, I keep wanting to say Leah. Delilah gets her investigator to do what he does, and they were able to find out that this woman was, they got her on the video camera, they did facial recognition, all this stuff. This woman was actually an actress who has been employed for mock trials in the past by where? Tamara's law firm. So now Delilah is like, so Tamara's setting me up now? Like, that's what we doing now? So, of course, you know what she did. She called Tamara and went the fuck off, okay? Cussed Tamara all the way out. Tamara gets pissed off because Tamara was like, what are you talking about? I didn't do this. I didn't know anything about it. Just as she's on the phone with Delilah defending herself, she gets an email. What comes across on the email? the voice recording from the interview that she ain't know nothing about, which she really didn't. She didn't know anything about it. However, Delilah hears it playing in the background, so Delilah is convinced that she was in on it. Baby, Tamara takes her happy ass right up them steps to the top floor and talks to her boss, rolls in on her boss, and goes off on him and tells him, listen, I don't need your help. This is not how I want to win this case. Her boss was like, well, listen, with all due respect, I've seen you do the same, if not worse. We didn't break any laws, maybe some moral laws, but we didn't break the law. And if this wasn't your best friend, would we be even having this conversation? Would this be an issue? And of course, Tamara had to sort of check herself on it because she has done some things in the past that might bend the rules of ethics. And she had to sort of kind of take that in. Now, while this is going on, Delilah takes her tail down to the rehab center to talk to her brother. Because she ain't like how that conversation went. And so she's talking to her brother. And her brother was like, listen, what I'm going to need you to do is stay about my business. Like, I appreciate what you're doing and how much you are helping me. But me and my wife's situation is me and my wife's situation. She doing the best she can. And Delilah was like, is she though? Because I understand that maybe she's having some issues as far as you are concerned. And I understand you feel guilty because she begged you not to take that second tour. You took the second tour and you got hurt. But what the hell that got to do with your child? See, what she not telling you is that when I rolled up over to her house and she was walking around in her robe, guess who was walking around in the house with her? Oh, your friend. And you know, her brother was like, yeah, I mean, he cool, he good people, he helping. She was like, nah, he won't helping in the way I think you think he was helping. He was helping in a way, you know, in another way. And he was like, you don't know what you're talking about, Delilah. That's my friend. Like, matter of fact, he introduced us. Like, they were friends before me and her even knew each other. I'm telling you, it's not what you think. And Delilah was like, but it is. And Delilah basically told him, like, listen, appreciate you. You my brother and I love you. But what I'm going to need you to do is get your head out your ass and figure out what's going on with you and your family. And this is what I feel. This is how I feel about it. I understand where the brother is coming from or whatever. But here's my other problem with the situation. Why is nobody acknowledging what this woman is doing? Why is nobody acknowledging the fact that she done took her nephew in while y'all are getting y'all life together and she the bad guy? How'd she become the bad guy in this scenario? I don't know. It's whatever. So her and her brother not speaking, honey. We see her brother make a phone call later on in the episode talking to somebody saying, listen, I need your help with Delilah. We find out later. I'll get to later what that help was. Because when the phone call was first made, I thought that the phone call was going to be something else. But we'll find out. Now, Delilah is home with the kids. Her son comes home late. Where's her son? At that damn park that she keeps telling him not to go to. And he was like, I don't see what the big deal is. Dad said I could do it. She was like, well, your dad ain't here. So, what you talking about? Your dad is not in here, okay? I said, don't go to that park. She said, and maybe you need to understand that it is my job to make sure as a black man, you come home every night, okay? And if that means that I don't want you in that park after dark, then guess what I don't want? You at that park after dark. So later on that night, baby, she calls up her ex-husband and she lays into him. How you gonna contradict me? Why you gonna tell him it's okay for him to go to that park when I told him he can't? Well, after dark. He said he can take care of himself. He's fine. See, that's the problem. It ain't about him being fine. It ain't about him taking care of himself. And of course, then she starts naming off, names of black men who have been murdered by the police. She was like, at the end of the day, he can be mad at me all he want. He can mumble under his breath. He can cuss me out under his breath. But he'll be home and he'll be alive. And that is my job. My job is to make sure that he comes home alive. So what I'm going to need you to do is respect that. Baby, in the background, his girlfriend is in the background talking about something. You don't have to take that. Hang up on her. Bitch, what? See, you don't have nothing to do with this conversation, ma'am. You have nothing to do with this conversation. This is between me and the mother of my children. You ain't even my wife. You are my girlfriend. You don't get to tell me, and don't you ever tell me to hang up on her. What is wrong with you? Later on in the episode, we find out that is his ex-girlfriend that he got back with, that was one of his students. I think that's the student that Delilah was alluding to in the first episode about how he cheated on her with his students. She wants to move in, and he's telling her, yeah, no, I ain't ready for all that. And she was like, listen, we done been back together for months now. I want to say she said for like a year or two, but either way, she was like, at what point are we going to move to the next level? Like, because something was going on with her apartment, and where her and her roommate were living, the guy was going to sell the house, and so she needed to find some place to live. And she was like, I don't understand why I can't just move in here. And he was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And he was like, listen, I'm just not ready to do all of that. And she was like, well, when are you going to be ready? Because this is ridiculous. Like, we've been together too long. We done made a commitment to each other, and I'm going to need you to get over it. Go on and tell your wife that I'm here, that I'm back. And I think that might, he ain't ready to, listen, he ain't ready for that fight, okay? But she gonna be an issue. Talking about hang up on her. Fuck you gonna tell. Now, over to Tamara's apartment. She is in a funk because she knows that Delilah believes that she has something to do with that reporter showing up, and it looks bad, and she knows it looks bad. And she was like, and her thing is, even if I get past this, we are on this case against each other, and if it's not gonna be one thing, it's gonna be something else. And he told her, he said, just go over there and talk to her, go and apologize to her, because where her apartment is, she lives in like a high rise, or she can actually see into the neighborhood with Delilah's house is. And she's telling her, listen, you go. I'm sorry. And she's telling her, you go. I mean, he's telling her, go talk to him. Damn it. Let me get my pronouns together. Tamara's boyfriend is telling Tamara to go talk to Delilah. Like, go on and make up with her. And she was like, nah, I can't, Like I said, if it's not one thing, it's going to be another. And I'm just not ready to do that yet. Now, over to Delilah's house, she gets a phone call. Who calling her? The guy from the party, the man that was making the pizza, the deputy mayor's best friend. I think his name is Jerome or something. I don't know. He calls her, and he was like, listen, Tamara gave me your number. I hope it's not too forward. I would love to take you out sometime. And Delilah was like, listen, right now, me and Tamara got some things going on. It's probably not a good time right now for us to mix all that together. I appreciate you calling me, but maybe in about another month or two, we can revisit that. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to pray for you. You say you're going through some things. I'm going to say a prayer for you. She was like, you going to do what? He was like, I'm going to pray for you. And she said, oh my goodness. She said, it's been a while since I've been to church. You're making me feel kind of bad. He was like, oh Lord, this is the worst, first phone call ever. Like, I got you feeling guilty. You already said you can't go out on a date for me for a couple of months. And I got you feeling bad about it all at the same time. She was like, well, no, I mean, it is appreciated, So I think she's starting to second guess not accepting his offer for dinner, but The next day, Delilah's assistant / secretary rolls up in her BMW, honey. And y'all know Miss Barnes is sitting there. Is her name Barnes? Yeah, Barnes is sitting on the front step. Child, Miss Eager Beaver is there ready and waiting. And child, the assistant got to get herself together because, the girl is a lot, okay? Like I said, I still don't know how much I trust her, but she's a lot. She's a lot. So, she lets her in. She shows her, where her office is, and she got a feng shui it, honey. She want to know when she gonna get her key, all of that. Delilah comes in and tells her, I need you to start going through this evidence. I need you to label it. And however Delilah wanted labeled, Miss Barnes was like, well, I always like the N25 way of labeling. And Delilah was like, well, I'm more of an N23 type of girl. And baby, Delilah had to ask her sister, well, what is the N25? And it is like the newest way of labeling police evidence, which of course Delilah did not know. So that's the second time that Miss Barnes got some information on the newest way to do something that Delilah is not familiar with, honey. But either way, her, she gets Miss Barnes, get her going on what her assignment is to start going through that information. And she said, and make sure you're labeling it, appropriately, because this could end up in the police might need this. And she was like, for what purposes? She was like, a possible homicide. Okay. You in the big leagues now, girl. Homicide. Okay. So now the daughter is still waiting for Delilah to come and meet the music teacher. The music teacher that wants to give her the violin lessons, the free violin lessons. Delilah still don't trust it. Delilah still feeling some kind of way, but she does eventually agree to meet with the woman. So Delilah shows up. She late. Of course she's late, She shows up, and her and the woman have a very interesting sparring conversation. I mean, verbally sparring, not. And so first of all, the woman, I think it was Miss Catherine, she told Delilah, she said, first of all, I appreciate you wanting to meet with me. And if you didn't want to meet me, I probably would think some kind of way about you. The fact that this woman is agreeing to teach your daughter for free and you don't even want to meet her. Listen, as an educator, I feel the same way. I will never understand how parents send their kids to a building for 8 hours a day and don't even take the time to meet their teachers. But that's a whole nother rant for a whole nother day. We'll talk about it sometime, somewhere. Meet me on the Teacher Project 2.0. We'll talk about it over there. Anyway, so Catherine says, listen, let me explain something to you. Your daughter's talented, but she's not. She's talented and she has the potential, but she's not there yet. But with my help, knowing what I know, being the places that I've been, and with the talent that I have, I can make her the most prepared that she can be. She said at the end of the day, these areas are already not open to little black girls. The doors are limited for little black girls. So she needs to be even more ready as a black girl, because she's going to be competing against everybody. Y'all know the story. And Delilah was like, but here's the thing. I know my daughter's good. But what I don't want to do is give my daughter false hope. I don't want her to be disappointed. I don't want her to be hurt. Because I know the chances are slim to none for what it is she wants. Miss Catherine says, here's the thing. Stop trying to protect her from getting hurt. And prepare her for what's to come. And Delilah, I feel like she heard it, and Delilah agreed to let the girl take the lessons, right? So we're going to see how that ends up working itself out. Now, later on that night, Miss Barnes stumbles across some very, very important information in that evidence, right? And she ends up having to, Delilah is at the house. Her investigator's there with her. Man, I ain't quite figured out what the vibe is there. I don't know if they used to date. I don't know. There's something there. It's clear that he's been with the family before. He's hung out with the family. The kids know him very well. It's clear that their relationship at some point in time was more than just. They have a connection. I'm not saying that it was romantic, but they definitely have a history that we haven't quite gotten all the information on. So Delilah goes to open her door. Now the investigator's over there to take her to dinner. To eat her dinner. She's cooking and all that good stuff. Her dad shows up. Well, come to find out, the brother called the dad and asked the dad to take Dion. Delilah was like, say what? Say who? He was like, listen, your brother asked me to come and get Dion. He doesn't want him here anymore. Whatever y'all are dealing with, he don't want Dion here anymore. And Delilah was like, oh my God, like, how could he do this? Like, Dion is already going through enough. He's already dealing with enough. And so you going to come and take him from me? Like, this is the only stable place he's had for the last 6 months. And this is what we doing? So, oh, remember the son called Delilah's husband because he wanted to come live there. And Delilah said, until you can respect my rules, he ain't coming over there. Not only is he not living there, he ain't even visiting until you can respect my rules. Okay, so anyway, that's important because, anyway. So Delilah goes back in the house. Won't even let her daddy in the house, honey. To get Dion. And she goes to talk to Dion. And of course, Dion is upset. He's like, why don't you want me? Like, nobody wants me. Why doesn't anybody want me? And she was like, that's not it. That's not it at all. You know I love you. You know I want you here. You know I would never, ever, ever, I don't want you to leave. And she can't even bring herself to tell that boy. So she goes back out on the porch and she tells her father, listen, I'm not sending him. I'm not doing this to him. I am not going to be another person that abandons this little boy. And if he wants to, traumatize his son further than what his son is already traumatized, then he going to have to get the balls to take me to court or something, because I'm not doing it. I won't do it. And her father tries to talk to her and say, listen, he has a right to have his son live wherever he wants his son to live. She was like, yeah, okay, but you ain't going to be the one to do it, and it won't be tonight. Then, while they're still dealing with that, another knock at the door. Who is it? Tamra. Trying to make good. She done bought her some food. Talking about some girl, let's talk. She was like, that wasn't me. I wouldn't do that to you. I didn't have nothing to do with that. Why don't me and you sit here, talk, catch up, be like old times. I love you, girl. Delilah was like, listen, even if it wasn't you, it was your law firm, and we are in the middle of this case, and I just can't. Like, I can't. Now, mind you, Delilah already pissed off about the whole thing that happened with Dion, and she politely dismisses Tamra. And of course, Tamra is hurt by that. Then, last but not least, Miss Barnes shows up at her door to show her the evidence that she had stumbled across, and what it was her brother's incident report. Come to find out, her brother had always said he couldn't remember what happened when he got his legs, when he got, I guess he hit an IUD. Lord, IUD, that's a whole nother situation, child. IUD. But according to the report that Miss Barnes found, he did. At least he said he remembered. Now, whether the report is real or not is the part they need to understand. But what they're finding out now is that her brother's injury is somehow connected to this case now. The plot thickens, y'all. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments, please.